Hello and welcome to English Audio Lab. My name is Trevor.
And I'm Alicia. We're so glad you could join us today. We have a really useful topic to talk about.
That's right. Today we're talking about daily habits and routines. These are the things we do every day, often without thinking.
Exactly. And talking about your day is a very common way to make small talk and connect with new people.
It is. So we'll learn some simple words and phrases to help you describe your daily life in English. As always, we will go slowly and there's no pressure. Just relax and listen.
Okay, to start, let's just have a natural conversation. Trevor, I'm curious, what is your morning routine like?
My morning routine. Well, I'm an early bird. I usually wake up around 6 a.m., even on weekends.
6 a.m. Wow, I am not an early bird. So, what's the first thing you do?
The very first thing I do is drink a big glass of water. After that, I always meditate for about 10 minutes. It helps me start the day with a clear mind.
That sounds very calm. And after you meditate?
Then I make a cup of coffee. I can't function without my morning coffee. While I drink it, I normally read a book or listen to the news for about 30 minutes. I try not to check my phone right away.
That's a great habit. I always check my phone first thing. So your morning is very quiet and peaceful.
It is. How about you, Alicia? What's your evening routine like? How do you end your day?
My evenings are for relaxing. I usually finish work around 6 p.m., then I often cook dinner. I really enjoy cooking. It helps me to wind down.
Right. It's a nice way to switch off from work.
Exactly. After dinner, my husband and I sometimes watch a TV show or a movie. But before I go to sleep, I always read a book for a little while. It helps me fall asleep. I'm usually in bed by 11.
That sounds like a wonderful way to end the day. Okay, that was a nice chat. Did you notice some of the words we used? We used words like always, usually, often, and sometimes.
Yes, what do we call those words, Trevor?
These are called adverbs of frequency. They tell us how often we do something. Let's look at them.
Okay.
Next is usually. This is for something you do most of the time, maybe 90%. I said I usually wake up around 6 a.m. Maybe one day a month I sleep a little later.
That makes sense. Then there's often. I said I often cook dinner. I do this many days, but not every day. Maybe 5 or 6 times a week.
Correct. And finally, we have sometimes. This is for things we do, well, some of the time. Not a lot, not a little, maybe 30 or 40%. You said we sometimes watch a TV show.
So to review, always, usually, often, and sometimes.
Perfect. We also used some other useful phrases. Let's practice a few. Listen and then repeat in your head or out loud. First, to wake up. This is when your eyes open in the morning. Let's say it slowly. Wake up.
Now at a normal speed. Wake up. I wake up at 7:30.
Next, to get up. This means to get out of your bed. Slowly. Get up.
Normal speed. Get up. I get up a few minutes after I wake up.
And one for the evening. To wind down. This means to relax after a busy day. Slowly. Wind down.
Normal speed. Wind down. I like to listen to music to wind down.
Great job. Now let's see how these phrases work in some real life situations. We're going to do a short role play. Alicia, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. In this first situation, we are two colleagues talking at the office on a Monday morning.
Morning, Trevor. How was your weekend?
Morning, Alicia. It was good, thanks. Very relaxing. Ready for the week?
I think so. I just need my coffee first. It's the first thing I do every morning when I get here.
I understand completely. For me, I always turn on my computer and check my emails first. It's a habit.
That's probably a more productive habit than mine. After my coffee, I usually make a to-do list for the day.
That's a great idea. I should try that.
Okay, let's look at that. We used some good phrases. I said, it's the first thing I do every morning. This is a very natural way to describe a strong habit.
And I said, I always check my emails first. It's a habit. You can add the phrase, it's a habit, to explain something you do regularly.
Let's do one more role play. This time, we are two friends talking on the phone about our weekends.
Hey, Alicia, how are you? What do you usually do on Saturday?
Hey, Trevor. On Saturdays, I tend to sleep in. I rarely set an alarm.
That's the best part of the weekend. So you have a slow start to the day?
Definitely. In the afternoon, I often go for a long walk or meet up with friends. In the evening, I hardly ever go out. I prefer to stay home and watch a movie.
That sounds lovely. My Saturdays are pretty similar. I almost never work on the weekend. I try to disconnect. Okay, let's look at this conversation. Alicia used a great phrase. I tend to sleep in. To tend to do something means you usually or often do it. It's a very natural way to describe a habit.
And sleep in means to sleep later than usual, a great weekend activity.
We also use some words for things we don't do often. Alicia, you said, I rarely set an alarm. Rarely means almost never.
Right, it's the opposite of always. I also said I hardly ever go out. This means the same as rarely, very, very seldom.
Exactly. These phrases are fantastic for sounding more natural in your everyday conversation.
Now it's your turn to practice. This is the most important part. We are going to say some sentences. We want you to listen carefully and repeat them out loud after us. Are you ready?
Okay, I will say a sentence and then I will pause. Please say the sentence. Then Alicia will repeat it so you can check your pronunciation. Let's begin. I usually drink coffee in the morning.
I usually drink coffee in the morning.
She often reads a book before bed.
She often reads a book before bed.
They sometimes go for a walk after dinner.
They sometimes go for a walk after dinner.
He hardly ever watches television.
He hardly ever watches television.
I always brush my teeth before I go to bed.
I always brush my teeth before I go to bed.
Excellent work. Repetition is so important for learning.
Now for our last practice. Trevor will ask you a question about your daily habits. Take a moment to think of your own answer. Then I will give an example answer. Try to answer out loud if you can.
First question. What is the first thing you do in the morning?
A possible answer is the first thing I do is check my phone. Or I usually drink a glass of water first.
Okay, next question. What do you usually have for breakfast?
You could say, I often have toast and coffee. Or I rarely eat breakfast.
Last question. What do you do to wind down in the evening?
An answer could be, I tend to listen to music. Or I sometimes watch a series.
Fantastic. Thinking about your own life and your own habits is the best way to make English a part of your world.
And that brings us to the end of our lesson today. We learned a lot. We talked about adverbs of frequency like always, usually, and sometimes.
We also practice useful phrases like wake up, get up, wind down, and tend to.
The most important thing is to feel more comfortable talking about your own life. Don't worry about being perfect. Just try to communicate.
That's the real goal. Every little bit of practice helps you build confidence. You are doing a great job just by listening today.
Thank you so much for joining us at English Audio Lab. Keep listening, keep practicing, and remember to be patient with yourself.
We look forward to having you with us again next time. Goodbye for now.